Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Special thank you to our sponsors of The Experience, live with Russ and Scott, Jim Coleman, State Farm Insurance, 541-753-2500. Call him for all your insurance needs. And for more information on Christine Smith and Aging Better Network, go to agingbetternetwork.com. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott. We are so glad to have you here today, aren't we, Scott?
Yeah, I love when it says going live, right? The show is live and that music comes on. And I think, by the way, just to remind everybody that theme song should be submitted for a Grammy in a new category of best theme song for a live streaming show on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook.
I agree. Yes, for those that don't know, my fabulous son writes and produces music and does our music for our shows, and also is Grammy nominated and Dove nominated for both production, mastering, and his band for the Dove Award. So anyway, it's been a blessing to have him in the family. So it saves Scott and I on cost for music. There you go. No, but today is just an amazing day. Scott and I had so much fun last night. We were able to go out to dinner in Portland with my little sis from Manchester, England, Dr. Nupi Aurora, the glitter practitioner. Our friends, Michael Holt was there. Scott and his wife, Christine, were there. And just for a brief moment, I saw the amazing Devin James Stinson and got to chat with him too. So yeah, it was a great night, Scott, and good food too.
Yeah, it's so McMiniman's restaurants were started by a couple of brothers from Oregon State University, where both Russ and I support the Beavers. Yeah, right there. Go Beavs.
Number 10 in the nation right now. Number 10.
Number 10. They have a number, and it's just a very Northwest feel, all of these different restaurants they have. And I'll say pub food. They brew their own beers, and it's just a fun place to go and hang out. And I'll tell you, we were at the Fulton Pub, downtown Portland, right near the waterfront. Great service. It was busy on a Tuesday night, and really, really friendly. So
we just wanted to jump up from the table and we're having so much fun. I mean, it was amazing. No, it was really good service. It was a small, very intimate feel, but no, it was a great time, and it had a really, really good time.
And they have the best clientele.
Yes, there you go. We just brightened up the place. We were a little rocking and having a good time. That was for sure. So, but we're so glad that you're here today. We're here every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube for your listening and viewing pleasure. And this also transfers into audio podcast. You can listen to it if you don't get a chance to watch on your favorite podcast network, whatever that is, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, whatever. And if you miss this and you want to watch the video, it all plays on replay on all the channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. In fact, the live banners or the live links become replay links. So don't forget about that. And we would love it if you would subscribe on YouTube. It would just really be a blessing for us because we're trying to build up our YouTube page. So go to the experience.video. It's simple, the experience.video. And when we got these links and these web pages to link to our YouTube page, it's big thanks to our friend Jim Fuhs, who's here today. We have Jim and Cammie Huyse here with us today. And Jim and Chris Stone, I think, tuned us in when we got all these links for our shows to make it simple for you out there to get directly to the YouTube page. Click on, if you haven't already, click on another tab, open it up, hit the subscribe button after you go to the experience.video. And we would love for you to be part of our family. And then you can binge the experience this weekend. Who needs Netflix, right? Binge
That's
the
right.
experience.
Yeah. Disney Plus, who cares?
Yeah. Well, listen, I am excited. And Scott, we'll talk in a minute after we get done here. But why don't we just get our guests in and get things rolling?
Yeah, we've got such smart, friendly, genuine people coming on that have impacted my life. Both of them so gentle and kind that it's going to be a great show today.
No, I am extremely excited. And Cammie, who's going to come on first, she and I, and Scott, you and she also, and Christine were able to meet up in Portland when she came to town. So let's welcome Cammie Huyse. Woohoo!
Hey, everybody.
How's it going, Cammie?
Hello, Cammie.
I am great. I'm glad to be here. And that I don't have to be up at the Pacific time, that I'm in Central time.
There you go. Well, what better place to start your day than the Experience Live with Russ and Scott and have some fun. So we're just glad to have you here. And I bet you that most people know all about you. But for those who don't, give us a little snapshot. Who is Cammie and what are y'all up to?
Yeah, so my name is Cammie Huyse, and I am the CEO of Zoetica Media and the founder of Smart Social Mastery, which is a online training course, I guess you could say is the best way to put it, for coaches and consultants. So I am in Houston, Texas, and I have been doing this online world for a very long time. I don't even want to say how long it's been. It's been a long time. I was talking to John Alsasser, who is he runs the strategies and tactics for PRSA yesterday. Actually, I was live streaming with him, and he was reminding me of like when I first became a blogger back in 2005. I was like, oh, I go way back. I love to build online community. I love to connect with people. I love to help people with their visibility online and how they show up. And so that's what I do.
And I will say that, Cammie, you build community, and it happens that online is one of those.
Yes.
But social media breakfast is not just online, even though it's social media.
No, I came to Houston in 2008, and I really didn't know anybody in town. And I started looking around for a place to connect in, because I did the Russ thing. I came to town and I was like, who could I connect with? And I had one friend, I think on, at the time, Twitter, and she and I met for lunch, and she said, hey, you should meet this woman, Jennifer Tejada. And she was the first social media manager for MD Anderson at the time. And so we sat down and met together. And then she said, we should have something for social media. So we started Social Media Breakfast in 2009, 3 months after my last child was born. So as soon as I could get him into daycare, we started Social Media Breakfast. So that's 2009. We are going to be 15 years in May.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
2024.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I have been blessed to be able to be on that virtually a couple times, which is great. I'm looking forward to the day when I can actually come to the Social Media Breakfast. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If we can line it up, I'll have you be my guest.
There you go. I would love to do it. And you are definitely high on my list, Cammie. There's picking off people I haven't met in person one at a time, right? People are either coming to me like
I did meet you in person.
Sis.
You have to come meet me in person in my backyard.
There you go. That would be awesome.
Right. That's right.
Well, I really enjoyed, it really meant a lot to Scott and I, Cammie, when you came to town, you reached out to us, and what a blessing. I know your family thought you had 1 million people to meet. It was like, okay, that's enough. But it was so nice that we were on the list that we got to actually, and it was really good for me because that was right right around the time that my mom had passed away. And so
It was
um,
the
that was really a good thing. I mean, I had told you that it helped me to keep moving and doing things, and yeah. So anyway, that was
And
it.
speaking of meeting live and in person,
Yes,
Michael Holt is in the comments,
Hey,
and
Michael.
we got to have dinner with Michael last night, and he and my wife Christine had a great conversation about Linkit Media, so
yeah.
which is his company. So a lot of good things going on today.
Oh, there are, and I'm finally. Thanks for reminding me to get the comments up there. But also, speaking of being live and almost in person, Mr. Jim Fuhs is in the house. Let's bring him in. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. How you guys doing? And great to see you, Cammie.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
too.
Well,
I think we just talked. Was it last week or the week before? We had an
Yeah, it was
Zoom call.
Global Tea Break.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So let me just say
Yeah.
the Global Tea Break is this coming Friday.
It is.
So globalteabreak.com. And so that's 9 a.m. Central Time. And it'll be 10 for Jim. And Jim, you're going to do your introduction in a moment here. But let me just say, Jim and I met on Twitter in a Twitter chat. And his company, Fusion Media, is a good name, unusual name. And he was volunteering at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego. And I think it was 2018 or 2019. And so I'm walking through and I look at the name badge and it says Jim Fuhs, Fusion Marketing. I'm like, I know you. So we got to meet in person. And then I got to meet you in your natural habitat
That's right.
down there in front of the championship ring at in Battery, the Battery
Yes.
Park, right?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was glad we got to meet up, and we went to Goldberg's. Not that they're watching the show and will give me a free meal for mentioning them, but that was fun. Get
well,
them as a sponsor.
Jim, you're definitely high on my list too to get over there to Atlanta. And I tell you, I met Jim through the Global Tea Break, I think. And Jim and I became fast friends. In fact, I think Jim talked for several weeks in a row, like at least once a week at first. And you were kind of giving me some information and helping, and then helped us get started with the Experience Live with Russ and Scott when Scott and I got going. So we were
So
very thankful for that.
absolutely, Jim, you're in our credits, but let me put that thing out there for everyone that doesn't know you. Tell us about
Yeah.
Jim.
So, I'm Jim Fuhs. I'm the president of Fusion Marketing, and I do marketing the Marine Corps way. And you may say, well, why is that? Well, I'm a retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel. In fact, Friday during the tea break will mark the 40th anniversary of me signing my contract to join the Marine Corps when I was in high school. So,
Yeah, I was going to say, you're only 40. How did that happen?
no, I enlisted first, and then went to college, got my commission, and but I've been doing fusion marketing for, it's hard to believe, going on 8 years, and the last, I guess, almost 5+ years have videos been a big part of that. So I do digital marketing consulting. I do social media workshops on, I would say, just about any platform except for TikTok. I'm not a TikToker, and I also do remote live stream production. And I just returned from being part of the event team at the Veterans Administration's National Veteran Small Business Engagement that was hosted by the VA's Office of Disadvantaged and Small Business Utilization. So that was neat to talk to small and big businesses that want to work with the VA, but also learning that there's an opportunity for companies that are, veteran-owned, women-owned, to work with commercial companies as well, because they're all looking for, increasing their diversity, supplier base or service base. So that's got my brain spinning as well, because even doing things like this, which I do frequently, people need help with this. They don't necessarily want a full-time staff. And then I'm also, since about early September, been producing a live selling show for a company called Navica using a product called eStreamly, which is based right here in Atlanta, which is a live selling platform, which is pretty amazing. You can buy while watching the video. So if we were streaming this to eStreamly, people could, click the thing, buy Russ's book, and still be involved in the video aspect, not going to a new page. So those are, yeah, I guess you could say those are things I've been up to lately.
Yeah, I want to say though, Jim, you are a perfect example to me of an amazing friend. Actually, you and Cammie both, but I just remember back how we all do similar things, or we're all in a similar arena. And when I first started live streaming, I had people ask me, "Why do you have people on that like do the same thing that you do? Don't they steal your business?" And I'm like, it's just completely the opposite. I said, I want to build community with everybody who does what I do, because the amazing people that are friends of mine, we help and support each other, learn from each other, grow together, become better together. There is an abundant world out there that God has given us of people to work with. We don't need to be scrambling over one or two customers. We need to be helping each other because we do better. I always say the old concept where they put one McDonald's. What do you find by McDonald's? You find a Burger King and a Wendy's right next door, because everybody is drawn to good companies that band together. And so I think when good people band together, it's the same thing. And so I really appreciate you. And, Cammie, I have learned so much from you and watched you, from early days of live streaming before I was doing any of that, and learned from what you did. You were a real example, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're so professional. I love what Jim said, because I've also been working with Verizon Digital Ready. It's a free thing that you can do. So just go Google Verizon Digital Ready, and you can, if you have a small business, you can join that for free. And I am doing the same thing, Jim. I'm working on getting my getting my woman-owned business designation. And it is work. I'm going to tell you, I didn't realize how much paperwork that would take. But what's been great about it is it's made me much better business person, because, as you go through all of the things that you have to have, you're like, oh, I don't have that. Oh, I need that. I needed. So it's actually forcing me to do that. And so I love the Verizon Digital Ready program for that, because first of all, it's free. And second of all, they have all of these free online training courses for small businesses. So definitely go join that. They just came to Social Media Breakfast last week when I had it, and they took a bunch of pictures, and I think there's an interview coming out soon. So I will share that with the community when it comes.
That's awesome. That is
so
great.
you had to set aside, you had to tell Good Morning America, sorry, I can't be on your show again.
Again. Yes.
Well, Verizon needed me.
Maybe Cammie will appear in a Verizon commercial next.
Well,
I think
what
that's
it is. It's a Verizon commercial. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's great though too, because I think
Mhm.
what you're sharing too, Cammie, is a lot of folks don't realize those programs are out there, right? It's kind of, in fact, yesterday I was at a meeting for Connecting Cobb Veterans, and another thing I've been getting a lot more involved in over the last 6+ months is veterans organizations activities in my area. In fact, this past Saturday, co-chaired our 5K race to raise money for some local causes in our community, including the SHARE initiative of the Shepherd Center, which helps veterans that have had PTSD and TBI, and they do some amazing things to help these folks. And we raised over $80,000 in this 5K.
Amazing.
But what people don't realize is like all those organizations that are out there to help them, because people say, well, I'm on Facebook, but it's like, well, unless you're spending ads and targeting it correctly, you might have posted something about this Verizon Digital Ready on your Facebook page, and I didn't see it, even though I'm connected with you. And so, coming up with that whole aspect of how do you overcome it, because in some cases you have to put your stuff in multiple places, just like this show is being broadcast to multiple places, because there's people that they don't like Facebook anymore. They're not on Twitter, they're on Threads. And so it's a constantly changing world, and we have to figure out how to get our message out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I totally agree
it's
with
interesting thing you mentioned Threads. So, I'll say a relatively new comer to the social media world. Twitter is now X, so there's always changes. But the one thing that's constant are the concepts. So whether it was Facebook, Instagram, whether it's X, whether it's TikTok, there are some fundamentals that translate across all the platforms. And that's I'll throw that out to Cami. What are the things that it doesn't matter what the platform is? What do you need to do to be successful?
Well, thank you for asking. I have in my profile that community is the killer app. And a lot of people ask me, what tool should I use? What platform should I be on? Where should I be? And I always say that you need to be on the platform where your community is gathering. So you need to find out who is it you're trying to reach. And if that ideal person is on TikTok, you need to figure out TikTok. If that ideal person is on LinkedIn, you need to figure out LinkedIn. If that person is on any other platform, Instagram, which by the way I've always dragged my feet on Instagram. It's one of the ones I've never really loved. I loved Twitter when Twitter was Twitter, and that was my jam. So Threads, by the way, I love that too because it's sort of Twitter-like, I guess you could say, and I've really enjoyed Threads. So my entire community from the OG days, the original ones, we were all bloggers together, are all on Threads. And I'm connecting with them daily. It's been really fun. It feels like really old-timey days for me, but that's been fun for me. But again, that's not where my clients are. So my clients are more on LinkedIn, let's say. So I need to do LinkedIn really, really well. And I agree with Jim and saying that you can have many places that you can put things out. So you need a strategy. That's the first thing. You need a very clear strategy, and it starts with people. Always strategy starts with people. You start with where they're at, and then you build your content strategy around the people that you're trying to reach. So you're not shouting at them. I was just listening to Bob Woodward in a interview, and he called it aggressive listening. We need to aggressively listen to our perfect clients and hear what they're saying, what their problems are, what their language is, and who they are, and then build our strategy around that, not what we think, not what we're trying to sell. So there.
Yeah. I was just thinking it's that, first of all, solve a problem, right? I mean, that's the first thing. And then I love it. Find out where your people hang out. There was a season of my life where I sold insurance, and people with disposable income tend to buy guitars. And so I play guitar. So once a month, I go spend a few hours down at the local guitar shop because we had something in common. And that's where the conversation started, not with, hey, Mr. Fuhs, do you have that, retirement plan?
Yeah. Well, I think one thing I want to bounce back to what you said, Cami, because I've learned so much from you. And that is, I'm all about connection and community building, right? I love the quote by Zig Ziglar, you build the people and then the people build your business. You've got to go find your tribe, find where your people are. I agree with that 100%. If I want to really do business, I hang out on LinkedIn. That's where the people are that are giving me business. I do the other ones to diversify and get that one or two stragglers, on Facebook or whatever. I'm not, unfortunately, Twitter for me has never really worked. I do it, but mostly my assistant does it for me. I'm not on there a lot, but I do love the fact that as you're building that community and you're focusing in on people, that great, amazing things happen. And you two were a big support in that. And Jim, I think that gaining visibility in all you do, like on this type of a platform, you were one of my primary focuses. You, Russ Johns, Tim Sohn, some of my good friends really got me excited about this. And have you really seen it as a blessing over the years, even through the changes?
Oh, definitely. I mean, even the fact that, we're live right now. Tonight, me and Chris will be live with JP High Tech talking about his new book, not only here, but over on Amazon. And as we like to say, all the tubes. And what's funny is sometimes you'll run into people that are like, I think I've seen you somewhere. And the reality is subliminally, they've seen me on a video probably.
Right.
And, when we have a podcast. And so it's a huge way to build, I like to say it's the whole thing, right? Going back to a lot of networking groups, it's about building know, like, and trust. Video starts that know, because you're seeing me. This
Mhm.
is the real me, right? You're not able to like, let's redo this take. I didn't say that right. And then people start to either they like you or they don't like you, and that's okay.
Right.
And then if they trust you, they'll start to reach out to you and want to do business with you. And sometimes it may be a year after they first saw you. It's not always instant, gratification. And I think that's part of the challenge when you talk to people about the importance of, as an example, doing video. I mean, I think, I don't know the exact stat. I saw this at some point, but I will say, Cammie, you can maybe back me up on this. Less than 5% of the people on LinkedIn are actually creating content. All right. So let me
Yeah.
say that again. Less than 5% of people
Wow.
on LinkedIn are creating content. Huge opportunity if you're, in the B2B space, which I like to feel that I am. The other thing too that I think that video has done, and I give credit to Chris Stone, but he said it's okay for me to run with this. I really like the concept of live solving versus live selling, right? We're here to solve problems. Even when you're talking about your book, Befuddled, right? Live the life you choose. That book is it's not about buying your book. It's about solving a problem that
Right.
people have, right? How do I choose that life? When we're talking about this microphone, as an example that I'm using, it's about how can I sound better? It's not like, hey, buy this microphone, because there's other options.
Mhm.
And so even in this show that I'm producing with Navica, that they're bringing on their items, and maybe in some aspects it's a little bit, but she's presenting items that solve a problem: a sweater that keeps you warm, a gift to give to a loved one that's handmade by an artisan in a foreign country. And so you're helping that person somewhere else, feed their family. So I think there's too much of this emphasis on sales. I think sales, at least to me, feels slimy. And I think it goes back to what Scott said. He sold insurance. He didn't love it, but by getting to know, like, and trust people, then they said, hey, well, what do you do, Scott? Well, I sell insurance. Oh, well, I need that. Can you help me? So I think that's where the power of video is. Not only can we make that video, we can cut that video up to kind of, if you want to call it, tease people to go watch the rest of the story, so to
Right.
speak, as
Mhm.
there's some famous news guy used to say.
Yeah.
And and then I also think that we can then repurpose it, right? With the
Yeah.
technology today, with programs like Descript, it could literally take this video in a matter of, and this is true now, minutes, right? We have a transcript. We can now turn that into a blog post, right? We can strip the audio, which I know you guys do, turn this into a podcast. So as Chris likes to say, right, we've got this repurposing wheel and strategy that we, because everybody listens to things differently. It goes
Right.
back to your example of Burger King, McDonald's, and we'll say Chick-fil-A. I may not like burgers, right? Or I may not like the way that burger's made. People, going back to your comment about, if you want to call it competition, people won't like the way I sound, but they like the way Russ sounds, so they're going to work with Russ, and that's okay. I just finally, it's taken me a while, but I was at Creator Camp in Boston in October, and I met this wonderful lady, Liz Wilcox. She's a email marketing, I'm going to say, expert. And she convinced me, and I'm now doing it. I sent out my first email in, I'll just say, a long time. And despite that, I still had a great open rate. I had responses, and it's like, you know what? I just need to do this and not keep making excuses. So by getting
Yeah.
over that first excuse of, well, I haven't sent an email out in so long, they're all going to unsubscribe. That wasn't the case. And the ones that did, when I looked at who they were, it was okay, because I really don't even remember how I got them on my list. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think video is going to continue to be important. I mean, even at this conference, I was doing video interviews, repurposing those interviews for the social media so that that conference will get more, traction in the future.
Yeah, I think we always need to think about that, where we're going, what we're doing, and how we can do things we can repurpose to. And, speaking of collaboration over a competition, we're going to do our final wrap up, because I've got to be the responsible host here and say our time is running out. But Cami was one of the endorsements on my book early, and it was a early real good support for me. And I tried to reciprocate by supporting and watching and being involved with what she was doing. And that's what we really need is when we come together, there's so many great things we can do and we can help each other with video and with all that we're doing so that we can all become more visible. And yeah, I mean, I just love it. I just see our good friend Alan Hennessy just joined us.
I saw Alan.
Hi, Alan. Yes. And so anyway, Cami, we're going to start with you and give us your gold nugget today of what you really want people to remember from today's show, and then tell us how to get in touch with you.
Sure. So first of all, people are the center of everything, and community is the killer app. That would be the golden nugget. I love what Jim said. You need a system in order to create content. It doesn't happen by itself. So having a system in place will get you moving. So I wanted to say that as well. Like, you may be kind of sitting on the fence and not moving. And the reason you're not moving is because you don't have a system in place. So I would love to help you with that. Let me know what you're up to. So my name is Cami Huyse, but if you just go to camichat.com, KAMICHAT.com, it's in my name right down here. I have everywhere you can connect with me, like everything, including my live streams. I'm here every Thursday at 9 a.m. Central Time, live streaming about one topic around social media and how to use it for your business. And yeah, that's what I would love to do. I'd love to meet all of you, and many of you I know already, so hi. And those of you who I don't, please reach out because I want to know you too.
So I noticed that in our links, we don't have camichat.com. So we'll make sure and get that in there. We have a bunch of other ways to connect with you.
There's a million, but they're all on camichat.com.
There you go. And I just want everybody to know that they are clickable, and we will get camichat.com in there. And it's in the comments, it's in the show notes. And you need to speak to Cami today and Mr. Jim Fuhs. Jim, give us your gold nugget, and how do we get in touch with you?
Yeah, my gold nugget really is start thinking about live solving instead of live selling, and think about how video can help your company help solve people's problems by video. In fact, meeting I was in yesterday, it was like, well, they were talking about all the places they were going to be. I was like, are you on YouTube? And they're like, well, what do you mean? People search on YouTube for solutions to their problem. So it goes back to, even if the video is live after the fact, getting that title right, getting that description right. This is how people will then learn about what your business does and how you solve their problems. So I'm really leaning in hard for the rest of this year in 2024 about start live solving people's problems with video, and you're going to see results. Amen.
And people get in touch with you how, Jim?
Best place I would probably say is reach out to me on LinkedIn. I've got to get some landing pages going. And also, if you want to learn more about tech solutions, go to dealcasters.shop or our Dealcasters YouTube channel. We've got a ton of videos out there about all these different products that can help you sound and look better.
Awesome. Awesome. And, I've been meaning to reach out, which I'll have to do in a message, Jim, because since I was originally with you guys on Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose, which was a couple of years ago, in the last few months, I've collaborated, speaking of collaboration, with people. Rattled Awake Volume 1 came out, was an international bestseller overnight. Wrote a chapter in that, an amazing book, and they're actually on Volume 3 now. And also there was a great veteran on Volume 2, Jim, that I'll have to connect you with. He's going to have a show with me around veteran suicide because of the problems that they're having there. And like you said, the PTSD is worse than people realize sometimes. But I'm also coming out with Mr. Tim Sohn. I just did a chapter in his upcoming book, Perspectives on Cancer, around my cancer journey, and also doing one on a letter to my family, a note to my family, I think it's what it's called. An amazing book that's going to be out in December. So,
and I read the chapter that you sent out. So thanks for sharing that with me. Really wonderful.
Yes, I appreciate you. And the one thing, Cami, that was good for me on this one is on books by yourself, you have to do everything, especially when you're when you're self-publishing. And these books, collaboration books, are awesome because you do your chapter and everybody else does everything else.
I know, that's what I did too. So yeah, that's the book. the most amazing marketing book ever
Yes.
that I got to do with a awesome group of amazing marketers and Mark Schaefer as well. So yeah, it was really amazing.
Yeah. I highly recommend. I have the digital copy of your book. I might even have a printed copy. I know I have your book, but
Yeah, it's in
have
here.
read. I have read your chapter and read part of the book, and it is an amazing group. You're right, and this just is proof. And Scott, you've done this too. You know, you've collaborated with people, and Scott and I have talked about collaborating on a book too. It is easier when you're together with amazing people because we are better together, and we can do amazing things and quickly. I mean, you get the people that know what they're doing. I don't
Mhm.
really know that. Even on Befuddled, I had to get people to help me that knew what they were doing. These collaborative books, man, they get it on Amazon quickly, get it on the bestseller list, and get you number 1 on Amazon. It's amazing. So,
Well, and
anyway,
I'm just going to throw this out there. So if you like Russ, if you like Cami, if you want to be a friend to them, uh, go to Amazon and write a review
A review.
about the book. It costs you a few minutes, and it is so encouraging. And
yes.
so I'll just encourage everybody, go
Well,
out and write a review today.
go to D. Scott Smith and do the same because he's got a million books out there. I just try to be Scott. I mean, one of these days I'll catch up. Probably never. But anyway, hey, it has been so amazing to have you both on. And I truly, from the bottom of my heart, you both are amazing, amazing friends. And I can't even tell you how much I appreciate you. I can't wait to come to Houston. I can't wait to come to Atlanta. I really mean that. You know, this last year has been a little bit of a journey for me. And so when I get a little stronger, I'm definitely going to do some of that. So I appreciate you both being here.
Well, thanks for having us.
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet. Okay, we're going to send you to the green
I'll see
room.
you in a
Hang
few.
tight, though, and we'll see you in just a minute.
Yeah.
I
I
tell
love
you,
the
Scott, it gets
yeah,
better all the
love
time.
that. Yeah. You know, Jim had a great comment about YouTube and people going there for how to. One of the most popular videos that I have, and I did it for myself, was how to make a post on Patreon. And I just put it, and I needed to share it for some folks, so I made it popular. That video is constantly being played, and it was just a little screenshot of, you know, click here, click here, click here. But that's, I mean, he's absolutely right. I was driving by the university, and there were 2 cars head to head, hoods up, 4 students out there with jumper cables on the ground. So I pulled over and stopped, and sure enough, all 4 of them were watching YouTube videos on how to jumpstart a car.
Well, I've got to jump in on that one. Pun intended. I told you, I think this story, Scott, that my kids, I was so proud of them. My adult children, who were 32 and 30, had
Mhm.
never changed a tire, and they called roadside assistance when they had a flat, and it wasn't going to get there in time. So they pulled out YouTube. They watched the video. They changed their own tire and got to a tire store before it closed to get a new one. Completely impressed. And I'll also say my son, when he was in college, did a video on how to put your pedal board together for electric guitar.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of
Right.
views on that because people really love that kind of thing. So
So follow the
anyway,
advice that Cami and Jim are giving you, please. Just do it.
exactly, exactly. Scott, what do you got going on this week before we wrap up?
Well, of course, on Friday it is the global tea break. It is the November edition. In December, we're going to have the tea part or the Christmas party. But this week we're going to be talking about a survey. And last month I talked about long-term planning, putting together a 3-year plan for yourself and for your business. And so we're taking that to heart with the tea break. So we want to see where it's going to go in the future. So we'll be putting together a survey, and Alan Hennessy has been working on that. And the other big thing is that the independent planner, the undated version, a 4-month planner and journal, is now available on Amazon. So people can go to independent-planner.com and find my new planner.
Very exciting. My daughter loves your planner and appreciate the global tree break so much because all of us here are part of that, and it's been such a great network for me. And so I just want to shout out to, first of all, everybody get Scott's planner. Everybody come visit the Tea Break. It's globalteabreak.com, right there on the screen. And I just want to remind everybody, if you go to russhedge.com, you can get access to everything that I do, all my connection links, all my live streams, but also all the books that are coming out. And currently you can get Befuddled, the workbook for Befuddled, which is amazing, on Amazon. And you can also get Rattled Awake, Volume 1. Coming up, the other two books, one will release in December, A Note to My Family, and that one will be on there. And then in February will be Perspectives on Cancer, Volume 2. And I encourage you to get those books and get all of Scott's books and get everything that Cammie and Jim have.
Write reviews.
Yes, write reviews. So anyway, with that, I think we got to call it a wrap, Scott. And, I just appreciate you every week. It was such a blessing to see you in person.
Great to be there with you and your wife and my wife and Michael Holt. And
we're doing lunch today. We're doing lunch today too, which will be great. So,
Indeed.
So I
Life is
appreciate
good.
that. Anyway, listen, everybody, thanks so much for joining us. And until next week, which is Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, we would love to have you join us again. Yeah, there you go. Pacific Standard Time. Yeah, okay, I'll get that right. Yes. And so until then, have a great day and a great life and enjoy
the experience.
Bye-bye. Woo!
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.